wanna be the best in the game, invest in my name, check no restraints, I'm obsessed with the pain. I ingest, I retain, assess and I change, possessed by the thought I'll be free one day from society's restraints. Money, clout and fame, mud, disease, a plague. We all love to hate, have to play the game, have to make a name. All our insecurities are on display. This is war with the enemy, think that it was meant to be. Living in
Hello and welcome, listeners, to another episode of Tactical Awareness. It's Season 2. We did it. We finished the season. 38 episodes. Now it's Season 2. We're going to be going through B-Pong today, the first of the ITS Season 15 missions, as we launch into a brand new season with Corvus Belli's landmark game, Infinity. So I'm joined today by my fellow hosts, Owen and Dan, and we will be breaking down the first of the new missions, which is B-Pong, as well as taking questions from the mailbag and talking about our plans for the new season. So let's see what's going on with the guys and get this underway.
And I opened up the package and I was like, oh, it's 2 boxes.
I'm so excited.
I accidentally ordered 2 boxes of cranky
to listen to you butcher all of the Yu-Ching names going forward. This is one of my, I'm so excited for this.
I'm doing it on purpose.
Are you though?
I said.
I mean, are you though? Really?
I still, when I talk about orcs, I still say wog.
Do you still say the waggy goodness? I'm gonna wag so hard. Oh,
you'll have that wog,
Mr. Medwin. Oh well, there you go. I'm excited to be Pong with you guys tonight. We're gonna be Pong so hard. It's gonna be the Pongiest. This is a new season. Can you believe we did 38 episodes?
What
of the ITS15? That was
I there the whole time. I don't think I was there the whole time.
You missed one. You only missed one. There was one, and then there was one you showed up halfway through.
I think I was mentally checked out during half of them.
And I think, I mean, I'm not saying you were mentally present, but you were at least like vocally, audibly present. I can't speak to your state of mind. But yeah, man, we did 38 episodes. It's a lot.
We're amazing.
I mean, we're something. We managed to complete 38 episodes of something. That's a whole first season. And we're on to a new ITS season, which means this is the first episode again. We're resetting the clock. You gotta play the meme. It's time to reset the clock on the whole season, and this is season 2. We made it. We got renewed for another season. People have been messaging, asking for all of our hot takes after the last episode on the new season. And we got lots to break down because there's like a bunch of new missions, and there's some relatively changey missions too. So that's the plan, at least for the first little while. Talking about what armies we're working on. I think the butchering of names will also continue because I will butcher all the Hakuslav names as well. I have no guarantees that I will not do that. And that's my plan.
I finished my project. I painted 700 points of Ariadne. Back to sleep.
Fuck off, for real?
No, I don't think I actually sent that picture.
I don't think I've seen it either, man. Put it in the chat. Yeah, I don't think I've seen all that.
There you go.
5 photos to the group chat called the podcast. Oh shoot, you did too. Look at these. Yeah, I mean the blue bases look really good. I like the way they pop. It's a nice contrast with a little bit of like beach.
Yeah.
That's great.
Shallow water the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, they're Marines. I think that's the thing, is they're the U.S. Ariadne Marine Corps. So like, hell yeah.
There's some more guys in there. It's not just U.S. Ariadne. It's like
I saw some bears.
I got Spetsnaz. We got bears. Yeah. We've got. I'm gonna use Scarface Pilot as my unknown ranger because I can't get an unknown ranger without ordering one, and I don't want to because you can only get the one with the derpy like arm up shield on his back.
Oh right.
I hate him, so it's fine. He's Guy. He stands out. Yeah.
So what's the plan then for the is it all Ratniks all the time?
No, I played a game today actually earlier when I tried out a vanilla list. Other than that, I don't know. I'm gonna just bounce through all of the Ariadne I expect.
Yeah.
I got US Ariadne lists. I got the bikes I still gotta paint. So
you got some classics in here, man. You got the original tank hunters, you get the old tank hunter goo gun, you got the old tank hunter, you got the Spetsnaz HMG.
If you get into the like I think it's like the fourth
You have the
picture or something like that.
old Tank
There's a
Hunter
whole
HMG.
collection of old models mixed in there.
Holy crap! You got some classics, man.
Yeah, you see Buddy with his grenade launcher behind Scarface.
Yeah,
like back behind him.
Oh yeah, that dude is ancient. Some classics in here.
And I've got all the squatting sapper HMGs. Yep. They're not in that picture, but they're around.
And double Ratnik. You get 2 Ratniks.
No, I've only got the one. Those are
Blackjacks. Sorry, you got Blackjacks and Ratniks. Yeah. Sorry, I was looking. I saw the shoulders on the Ratnik, and then I thought the other one was. They're both leaning on their machine guns. They're both Blackjacks. I like the Blackjack model, man. It's really cool.
Me too. I've got a double Blackjack list, and I've got a double Ratnik list, and then I've got a single Ratnik list, and then a triple Blackjack list. I don't know. I think the Ratnik actually is better than when he first came out. When he first came out, it was like, why would you ever bring this? But in this, whatever the latest pass that happened that kind of went over him, Burst 6 is no joke. Like that doesn't come up. Like I cannot count more than like 2. Can I even think of a second one right now that can get Burst 6?
I can't think of anybody unless it's like an assault pistol +1 burst or something like that, maybe.
But even those, like trying to figure out which ones of those are out there and also
can link
to get that extra one. And the Ratnik can. And he does it with an AP Spitfire.
Yeah, it's no joke.
BS13 chassis who's armor 6. So like you can take some hits back. You're 50 points, which is a bit pricey, but
I would not be wanting to roll dice against 6 dice.
Yeah, like what gun? What is your ARO back to that? And he goes like, "I'm 6."
A lot of instances of possible crits.
Yeah. And BS13 means generally he's rolling 13s.
Yep.
Right. And then sometimes even like he'll go up against suppression or mimetism. 10s, 6 dice.
He kind of reminds me of the not the Alpha Z, the Owl QK guy, the big armor 5 QK guy,
Azrael.
The Azrael, yeah, he reminds me of the Azrael from like but he trades like the damage potential for the chance of actually winning the fight.
Yeah, the Azrael hits harder, but this guy hits
more often. Yeah.
Otherwise, they're fairly similar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I don't know.
Like he's a really good bully piece, right? He doesn't want to go up against guys who mod stack or camo or anything like that, but he's really, really good at like bullying like basic pieces.
Yeah.
Basic pieces to tags. Because if he gets inside that 16 man, he will bully a tag.
100%. Well, this guy, he can get to 24 and bully attack because it's an AP Spitfire.
That's what I mean, right? Yeah. Oh, okay, if he's inside the 16 on the tag, then they lose their +1. He keeps it. That's it. That's what I was saying.
I see. Koronatid versus Kazakh Spetsnaz HMG, and the Spetsnaz HMG just melted him.
I'm not surprised. Spetsnaz HMG is real good. It's the OG Ariadna feel bad piece. Made people feel bad.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, hey, take a look at this guy. Look at this profile.
Hey, Ash used to use this guy against me all the time. Sometimes Ash would use 2 of these guys. When I was really rising to Owen's level, I would take 2 Spetsnaz HMGs.
I brought 2 today.
Yeah. And then I would also take 2 parachutist shotguns and bounce shells off of dead bodies.
And I brought, the list had 2 Kazakh Spetsnazes, 1, what are they called? The Ariadna walk on the side of the board guys. Paracommando? No, Airborne Ranger.
Airborne Ranger, yeah. They also made me Spitfire.
And Duroc and Margie. They were all on the same list. It was...
I mean, you can afford it with US Ariadna, right? Because your basic pieces are so cheap.
Oh, I just played vanilla.
Oh, just vanilla, yeah. But either way, because then you get the mix of all the cheap guys.
Yep. You get a dog, you get a werewolf. Or rather, you get a bear and a werewolf.
A werewolf.
Link or the not warband bear pod, pretty good.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, not cocaine bear. Yeah, not cocaine bear is amazing because it gets cover. Arm 8.
And it's still not. It's not a sync. He's just off doing his own.
He's
thing.
just off doing his own thing. Yeah, man. Yep. He's legit. Yeah, not Cocaine Bear. His thing is he doesn't have an intuitive attack template, which is a bit different because he doesn't have the super chain rifles. Like he's a shotgun, doesn't he?
Nope. Chain rifle plus
Oh
one
no,
damage
he's
plus one
the chain
burst.
rifle. That's right. So that's right. Cocaine Bear's the one with the
Yep.
shotgun. I knew one of them was weird.
Yep.
One of them was like had like a weird mix of guns for like what he did.
Yeah. Cocaine Bear has the heavy shotgun, but the other one being regular, it's real good. Armor 8, total immunity.
That's right. Armor 8, total immunity with cover.
Yeah.
This is very nice.
Berserk 24, AP damage 16.
Cool. What mission did you play today or this week with them?
B-Pong.
Oh, you played B. Okay, perfect, awesome. Well, we'll save that
Yeah.
then because that's the or the actual like title of this show. B-Pong's to I don't know what thing I'm going to say to the B-Pongs. B-Pong rock the B-Pong. And what about you, Dan? What have you been working
on? Not too much. I got 2 games in against Owen right after the last time we recorded, I think. And so we played, what did we play? We played the last launch and B-Pong.
Yep.
And then I played again Malifaux afterwards. That was a long day. I was exhausted.
That's like a long day, man. I can't imagine playing Malifaux after playing 2 games with my brain be on fire.
I lost horribly. I was like, I know I can beat this guy. Never mind. Nope. I can't beat anything.
I mean, gremlins aren't the most forgiving army when it starts to go pear-shaped either, if you're playing your gremlins.
This is true.
When things fall apart real fast.
I learned how to lose a B-Pong real good, so we can talk about that after. But last launch was also like a lot of fun. Like
I'm so excited for that mission. I'm playing both. I'm gonna catch up to you guys this weekend. Chase is coming in on Saturday, and we're gonna play both those missions, so I can give them a go too. I'll have some experience with them.
Like you have to make like different lists. Like it's really cool how you can skew into the mission, which means when it's in a mission pool, you're like, okay, this list is definitely for this mission, but like, can I also make it work for other missions? And it's like, I think it's just going to mix things up, which is exactly what you want out of new missions and new seasons. So
I'm excited it's a community mission, and you really feel like you can feel that it's a community mission too. You know what I mean? It wasn't necessarily written by CB; it was adapted from a community mission. And I'm excited there's 3 missions that are just brand new. Like the seasonal missions haven't historically been super exciting. People didn't love cryogenics, I don't think. Which was the last seasonal mission. Was it cryogenics? Which one am I thinking of? I think it's cryogenics, yeah. The one with the 4 quadrants, you're trying to find cryogenics, trying to find the HVTs. That was last season's seasonal mission. But I'm excited about all 3 of these seasonal missions. They're all just crazy. And you could run an event with just the seasonal missions. I think it's cool the mission pack has that much difference in it.
Then I got a notification in the mail today. Like I just picked it up before, like I got home like 5 minutes before the podcast. Because I went and picked up from the store some Quang Shis.
Getting Imperial service on and the Quang Shi.
That's the one. Yeah. So I was like, man, why was this box so expensive? And then it was $2. So I have 8, which is
do you need 8? Can you have 8?
You can't have 8 in Imperial service.
Oh, wild. Okay, shit. Okay, I don't know why you would, but I guess you can.
So it was a total accident. I only wanted 4, but now I have 8. So I gotta try a list with
I was gonna say, this is the Dan way. You've already painted the maximum of all of your remotes. You might as well have the maximum of your Quan Chi as well.
It's true.
Just go to the mat.
The Queen Shiz. I'm gonna have 8 of them.
I'm into it. I'm into maximizing the stupid.
Yeah. So I'm like, I don't even know how that list works. Because you're like, wait, I have so many points to fill. I need another Sujan is what I need.
You try and find the old one, the crab one that I have. I love the crab bot. He's so cool. Oh, the original Sujan. You haven't looked it up? Oh yeah, check this out.
Okay, I gotta look this up.
Yeah,
Because the cat looks pretty cool.
Because the kitty cat is cool, but the original one's so weird. He's the one I still have. I got rid of my old one, but the original one's the coolest. See a picture of this thing. He doesn't look anything like you would think he would look like, but I think he's amazing. He's a transformer. Check this out.
That'd be fun to bring both in the list. And they're like, this is Sujan.
That's my plan. I'm gonna have both. But the old one is he's very much a remote.
Oh, I like him.
Isn't he cool? That's why I kept that one. Yeah, and his
very
hypermobility form is he's like a weird remote, and then he transforms into a dude.
It kind of makes more sense with the climbing plus and then not.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Like he's got like these like grapply legs. And he's looking at a Spitfire. And I like that his Spitfire just transforms into his arm. He's very much the robot. Like that's what he is.
Uh-huh.
His
But the
only
robot,
downside
like,
is he's metal because he's old as shit.
the problem with the robot is like, I got arms and legs. I can't climb. But once I go down and have wheels, I can climb all over the shit.
Right, exactly. Well, for me, I am just getting ready to play some of these new missions. It'll be this weekend. Chase is going to bring his tables, which I'm excited about. His like cool tables that we got to see at Summer Siege, and we're going to try the missions out. He's started his new what you call it, the Shat company that he's bringing down for last launch and B-Pong, and I'm going to be playing probably my JSA for one and my whatchamacallit, my Starmada for the other one is the plan. So let's dive into the mailbag. It's mailbag time. We got 3 mailbag questions. For those of you who haven't added new questions to the mailbag, please, as you hear this episode, go and add some new ones. We're down to 4. We're going to use 3 today, so we'll have 1 left when this is all said and done. So please go refill the mailbag and get the link from the description of the podcast, or I'll also post it in the Discord in the Tactical Awareness channel when I post up the episodes.
Just remember, there's no wrong questions, but there are stupid ones.
And there are stupid answers because you're talking to the 3 of us. So the first one for this week is from Sirdomin. It's for everybody. And it says, what so-called bad units do you think the community is sleeping on? As a corollary, what good units do you think aren't worth the hype? So we each get to, we'll do one at a time. So we'll do the bad units first. We all pick a bad unit. And then we'll go across and do the good units that aren't worth the hype. Who wants to start?
I've talked about this before, but I really like the links in O12.
You do really like the links, like the hidden deploy.
I feel like people, it's hidden deploy, it's min-6, it's plasma carbine, it's assault pistol, it's sniper, he's so many cool profiles, and I find them like they're just really useful and hard to play around because you don't know he's there, and not a lot of people bring him.
Yeah.
But even if people weren't bringing him, there's a lot of parachutists and drop troops and different things, and so you can play some what's it gonna be in your list where people don't just exactly know what you're gonna bring. And I think I like having that to make them guess and make them pause a little bit, but then also just having a sniper that they can't just kill first turn if you go second because you just hidden deploy.
Yeah, I think when it comes to like subverting what people expect to see in an army, hidden deploy units are probably the top of the list of like the things people sleep on because they require like I think they have a higher ceiling of reward, but also a lower bottom for failure, right? So
you gotta be really careful where you deploy them. You gotta be, but
you can milk a lot of them because you're an experienced player and you've got the idea of what you want to do with them.
Well, I've screwed up plenty with them, but then when it goes off, you're like, oh yeah. Like when you deploy first, and then they're like, I deploy here, and you're like, there's a sniper, bam, and they're like, oh, son of a.
Yeah, or you like tail end a link team or a fire team as they walk by, stuff like that.
Or even they pop out to shoot your flash pulse spot, and then you're like, and there's a sniper shooting you now, and they're like, oh, I'm in a bad range.
You bait them with the flash bot. That's smart.
And I don't have mimetism, and if I oppose the sniper, then I
minus 12
flash ball, and then I could get and it's all of a sudden you're like, ooh,
yeah. Good solution. You force a bad situation with them,
and all of a sudden you're having fun in ARO, and so that I love that kind of stuff.
And your name isn't Atalanta,
and your name isn't Atalanta.
What about you, Owen?
I mean, I'm gonna try this Ratnik link. I think the Tartary Ratnik has something to happen.
I'd say that. Yeah, I'd agree.
Because I've never played anyone who's used a Ratnik. I know tons of people who have them because they were the starter set.
The starter set, that's right, yeah.
And like everything in that starter set was good, whether or not you wanted to play Tartary. And so they're all over the place, but you don't see them. So we'll see. Ones that I actually use. Tags. Just in general.
What do you mean? Like the bad units that like the people think tags are still bad and you still use them?
Yeah,
I would agree. Yeah.
I think there is a perception that tags aren't very good, and I think that is both true and not true.
Yeah. I think that tags are something that people have stopped preparing for as much because they've fallen into
And as soon as you learn like the actual target, like because the target priority for tags is not the same as normal people. Like if I'm playing my Yodems, I don't actually care about HMGs, but I do care a lot about AP guns. And
yeah, you
so,
sure do.
like if they have a TR HMG, I will just stand there and let it shoot me if it means killing the guy beside the TR bot that is like AP sniper. Like that guy's got to die first.
Yeah. Anybody who can split that armor.
Yeah. Or the
arm 10's not as good when it's arm 5.
right. And then just like that guy's got chain rifles. Well, those don't matter, but that guy's got an Emerat, so I cannot go over there.
Yeah, that guy's E-weapon has to die.
You have to figure out how to
prioritize. Some other fool that isn't a tag or heavy infantry needs to go kill that
guy. Yep. So I guess that would be it. It's just tags in general. Maybe they're being used more. I don't know. They're used all the time here now. So
but I think it's like everything, right? Things become commonly accepted. And then that makes things fall off people's radar. And then when they come back on the radar, they're not ready for it. I think that's the thing with like online discourse and I don't mean this from the point of view of like people who are just always online, but that idea that like there can be a group collective thing after a big tournament or after a big like event where something does really well. Like that whole Steel Phalanx chatter we talked about 2 weeks ago. That I just don't think is backed up in reality. Like it typically like aberrations and people picking things can happen.
Is Eldar OP?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Do rules drive sales when things aren't in stock?
How many times do they need to be in all 3 of the top 3 in a major tournament before they're OP?
Yeah. So more for me, but even the flip side of that is, or were they in the top 3 because 3 really good players took them?
And then they did it at 28 other events.
And they did 20. Yeah, exactly. Because everybody's talking about it. So that's what people are doing. You know what I mean? Nobody subverted the whatever common wisdom is.
Let's just nerf it before it gets adjusted to.
Yeah. And then will it happen again next time?
Yeah.
So yeah. So
what's a bad unit?
With you.
What's a bad unit?
My bad unit. Sorry. My so-called bad unit. I would say the N2A armies. Although they did like subvert.
That's not a unit.
Do you speak English?
Do you know what units are?
Unit could be a composition group of different models altogether.
Okay, Pano's bad.
Pano's bad. I guess you're not wrong. I would say.
Look, military always has like 4.
Yeah, this is a bunch. I was gonna go with Sograts in the Morad army list. Actually, they're the big heavy infantry guys. Arm 6 BTS 6. They've got the BS tech +1 damage, CC tech +1 damage with Fizz 14. They're shock immune, no wounding cap, so they're effectively 3 wound.
Did that sniper guy just take their job?
Not really,
because the Sograt used to join all those links, right?
No, he's never joined a link. He's able to harass. No, he never joined those links. I don't think he has a heavy fire team harass. He can't take harasses. He only takes duos.
Got it.
Yeah, he's in. Where's it called? He has the Morat armored fire team. It's the 2 models. It's Raichos, Bulltracks, and Sograts. Can go up to that, but you can also stick the wild cards with them. So you usually have the Sograt hanging out with like a Rakdrak if he doesn't have NCO, or Kornak or Anyat. Anyat's the usual one because it gives him a specialist. I like him. I love a +1 burst Fearbach. He's 60 points, but he's tough as nails. He's a very expensive because he's got the religious troop veteran and the no wounding cap and the +1 damage to his BS tech. So like he's not cheap by any stretch of the imagination, but he's super durable. You can have 3 of them, and they're actually decent in melee too, which is funny. You know, just like they hit really hard in melee. And they've got cool guns. They have pulsars and stuff. And all of their guns are AP because they either have AP HMGs or they have whatchamacallit, they have
APDA.
APDA Fearbox. And the fact that you got NCO baked into 2 of them, I think is really cool, which makes them relatively cheap as well. 58 point APHMG or a 62 point Sograt, and then you take the lieutenant option as well, which makes them even cheaper. So yeah, I like them. I think they're cool. They're a bit slept on. I think they're slept on because they can't go into Harris's, so you can't increase their mechanical power at all. But if you think of them as geckos, like little mini tags, they are relatively inexpensive for what they do, and they hit like a ton of bricks.
Geckos that can't Harris.
Yes, the geckos don't have damage 15 fear plus 1 burst fear box either, which I think is great. So let's go with Dan then for what do you think is overhyped? What is an overhyped unit?
Oh, I don't know. That's hard because usually like the good units are good. And they're good.
I can mirror back a unit that you've complained about like crazy that everybody uses. That is in your army. You've never been able to make work. Starts with an H, ends with a Lyta.
Hippolyta?
Yeah, man. You've complained about her more than any other model in your army. You just can never get her to land.
Oh no, I complain more about
Shona?
Shona.
Oh, you do complain about Shona too, yeah.
Hippolyta, I don't like Shona's exactly on the hype train though.
No, she's not, but Hippolyta is.
No, Hippolyta's no, she's solid. Like I feel like things can be overplayed. It's annoying when you just see like the same models over and over again, like McMurrow. But like McMurrow's really badass. And like I wish less people played McMurrow because he's annoying to play against, but also it's just like it makes it so you always have to have a certain thing in your list and you have to just always play around it because you're probably going to see him.
It feels like he's a part of a lot of really popular armies too, though. That's the thing. Like
right.
He's in Param, he's in, you know what I mean? Like he happens to exist in armies that are like wildly popular.
But he's also like not overrated. He's just really good.
He's real good. 27 points, yeah.
So it's hard in my limited knowledge of the game. It's hard for me to think of anything that's actually overrated. That's not just really solid and will help you win games.
I'd say the Avatar. I think the Avatar is great. Like it's a great model. I don't think it's as impressive as people think it is. If that makes sense. I think the Avatar is
you're going really to the point of it's really good, but it's not that good.
I think it's not that impressive. No, I think
that the play around it.
Yes, exactly. It only really exists inside a single type of combined army build, and you can't hide it because it doesn't hit and deploy. So you know you're facing it when it's the first turn, and that means you generally know what's in the army after that, right? Like it's part of a fairly like cookie cutter force. There's not a lot of unknowns, I guess, is what I'm saying when the Avatar's on the table. And so you just take it apart the same way every time. You have to deal with all the disruption pieces, right? Like the Tagas and stuff like that. You try and hunt its order pool. Don't try and brute force it if you can. And then go stab it. If you got it's the prime stabby piece target.
You try to EM it, you finally get him, and then you get subsidized on the way in.
That's right. You're brainwashed. You're brainwashed with Sepsi Cola.
I think Bit and Kiss are overrated.
Ooh, do go on.
Like I get that they're relatively inexpensive at 20 points. And like you're a repeater and you're a hacker. Cool. You're whip 13. You got a good BTS, but that's not uncommon on hackers. And you're just a worse beread. Like you got a bot with you, but you cost 5 points more, and you're just not as good as they are.
And looking through everything through the lens of a hackathon player.
Sure. I mean, like other hackers and other factions, yeah, there might be some that are not able to compete with a whip 13, no other modifiers.
It's not hacker. That I think it's when you take her in context of how expensive hackers usually are inside combined army. She's really good because she's okay and she's relatively cheap.
But also has the ability to throw pictures across the board with
exactly for your other hackers like your anathematic and stuff like that. She's a real cheap pitcher. They can also hack.
Because they can like deploy each pictures too, right?
Yeah, she's got Mind Layer picture, which is pretty cool.
Mhm.
I don't know. There's never been a game where Bit and Kiss are on the table, and I'm like, oh no, it's Bit and Kiss. What will like? I barely even remember that they're there more often than not. Where they're
Fair
like,
enough.
I shoot a picture out here. You're like, all right, this dog shoots it. This random jabroni hits it. Whatever the case may be, that's done. Moving on. Yeah, but we're in impersonation state. Oh, so you're not going to do anything, and I can just walk around then? Sweet. Oh, you want to reveal? Okay, chain rifle. Like, that's been my experience with Bit and Kiss. Occasionally they do something, but more often than not, like if I'm scared about like picture stuff, it's linkable pictures. People who can shoot both of them at the same time, or they shoot them and are really accurate when they shoot them. She's also only BS11, so she lands that picture on maybe a 14. She's got like a 30% failure rate. Like, I don't know. I get it. I get that she's a cheap hacker, and combined,
Doesn't the bot shoot too though?
It doesn't innately. It can have a picture, and so the two of them can shoot a picture at the same time. So that's we get two. So our powers combined bring us up to one normal guy with a picture in a link, like a breed. So like, I don't know. I don't think she's bad. I just don't think it's like, oh my god, it's Bit and Kiss. They're the staple that I need to make my list go forward. Like, I don't think that's true.
I personally also have never had problems with them, but I don't know if that's just
People talked about it like it was the craziest thing. I guess when I started playing again, it was very much like, watch out. Okay. And like, I get it. It's cheap hacker. Like, that's my perspective.
That's fair.
Take it or leave it. I think the Mentor is a better hacker than Bit and Kiss. How about that?
Okay.
For 8 points more, I get counterintelligence, camo, and decoy, and a better whip. Bam.
Fair enough.
Boom, roasted.
Wasn't the question, but okay. Boom, you did it. Nailed it.
I mean, the question was, what's a good one that I don't think is worth it?
That's fair.
it.
It's Bit and Kiss. Okay.
And you both went to try.
I've
and
never
go
heard
back
Bit and
for
Kiss
Bit
get
and
hyped. That's why I don't know.
Oh.
I've never heard the
Maybe
hype.
it's just a local thing then.
Yeah, maybe it's dogs. Maybe dogs are the things that are overhyped. All right, next question. This is from Alice. It says, for everybody, and it's, I love tags. They're such a cool model and a unique centerpiece in the army, but they're difficult to play and mine always get destroyed on turn one. Any tips for playing tags better? Tricks or thoughts on that changed how you viewed and used them? Well, all three of us have played with tags. Dan, in fact, started his Infinity career playing with a tag. Do you want to go first?
When you
How
go,
do you keep your Zeta alive?
yeah, so like when you go second, like because tags are usually pretty fast, they're almost all 6'4" of like the ones that you want to bring, except those amazing ones that are 6'2".
That guy.
Looking at you, Shikush. Because they're so fast, you
Making
don't
the
have to
Shikush
play-
work this season just to spite on.
Go for it. I'm ready for your disappointment.
Every list has a Shikush, and I'm going to sing the praise of the Shikush
He
every episode.
never gets an order. He only
He
uses his
never
tack aware, and
does.
even then, only sometimes. He's just a 60-point tag.
Sits on suppression. Just sits on suppression, wishing that he was a son.
Yeah, I won my game with
just,
my Shikush.
Just
Sure,
wishing.
the 5-man team with the 2 breeds were the ones who did the entire game, but
You're
the
like,
Shikush
I
was
could-
part of the list.
I could be a Sunday Clarinete lobby, but Ash won't let me.
Yeah,
Look, Owen won a lot with Ash's Shikush list.
that's right.
It
They
didn't
had
have
that in the
Shikush,
title.
but
Boom.
Anyway,
Sorry,
Oh.
go on, Dan. We
Oh,
completely,
yeah.
we
So
completely
continue my
derailed
thoughts
this.
before I was
6'4".
rudely interrupted. Because you're fast, you don't have to be in like a cool spot. You can like hide in like the crazy weird corner or whatever and be out of line of sight of all their snipers and HMGs and all the things that you don't really want to fight first turn. And then if you have like mine layer or different things, or people with like shotguns or chain rifles, you can place them around the tag, and so any kind of infiltrating guys will have to kind of go through that, and they probably won't kill the tag because usually the infiltrating guys are really scared of templates. They'll just die to a stiff breeze, and And so, yeah, you just kind of play much more defensively with it and just hide it like completely out of sight. If you can't, then you're probably playing on a bad table. Yeah, just don't be afraid to just like hide it all the way in a corner in some godforsaken spot on the table that's awful, because you'll probably be able to get out of it pretty fast, like twice as fast as any normal troop.
Okay.
That's my tip.
That's cool. Mine's a bit more general. And it's 3 things. The first thing is know what your tag does and what your tag doesn't do. Tags aren't all created equal. It's very common that we say play a tag, don't play a tag. They're not all the same. Some tags are brawlers, some tags are long-range gunfighters. Tags can be heavily armored, they can be lightly armored, they can be fast, they can be slow. You need to know what your tag's optimal range is, and you need to know where it should start the turn and where it should end the turn. And once you know that, it'll let you pick the next 2 things. And the next 2 things is when you reserve its deployment, where it should be deployed. Because if you're going first or second, that's going to change everything. If you're going second and you have a tag that only fights well at long range, you don't want to have AROing, you might have it watch a short fire corridor and use a command token to put it on suppression. That's very popular and a good way to keep your tag alive. If it's hanging out behind a hacker net, suppressing in the first turn, it's going to be hard to dig out. If you're going first, though, you might reserve the deployment so that you can go and hunt down a bunch of pieces that can kill that tag. All the things that are good at the range bands that it isn't good at, it wants to go and bully in its optimal range bands. So that's number 2. And then number 3 is you need to have a backup plan for when that tag dies. The tag can't be the only hitting piece in your army. You have to assume every time you build a list with a tag in it that it's going to die. And you need to be ready for it to die, and then you'd have a plan for who you're switching over to be the get stuff done gunfighter, knife fighter, whatever it's going to be in your list, that gets the work done. Because you just need to be emotionally prepared to lose your tag, because everyone's going to try and take it from you. It's a big, powerful hitting piece. Like, you have to assume it's going to be dead at some point. That's my advice. What about you, Owen?
I spend about half the cost of a tag in models that directly support that tag to not let it die. Either engineers, mine layers, guys with template weapons, guys with smoke, or remotes that can be just around it at the start of the game to buffer it from getting killed. So like my Magariba guards that I use all the time are they're about 85-ish points. My list has a Bereed for 15, a remote, whether it's the flash pulse bot or the other one. In the previous list, it was the what are they called? Rafik, who is the FO repeater. And so the 35 points for those 2. And then usually I'd bring either a Camille or just a cheap throwaway guy who can stand near the tag. And so it'll bring its remote buddy, who is bait for mines and things like that, as well as a repeater, and has a hacker to protect it. And then it has usually some model, some guy who's going to just stand near him and die on its behalf. Like if I'm playing into Shazvasti or JSA or some of the other like Scalpel, I'm going to just kill this tag in melee and I don't need to make it away. I usually try and have something that I shove myself in the corner and I literally body block and put 2 bases nearby that will prevent a base from moving past them. And he has to kill those before he gets to my tag, or he has to do a ton of climbing to get to my tag.
Right.
That's my way of doing it. Because you're susceptible to templates, but you know what? Take the template hit before you take a monofilament melee weapon. Like that's always been for me.
That's fair. The thing you can probably save.
Yeah. I don't care if I get hit by a rocket from the sky, because odds are I've got whatever the anti-rocket is, ECM guided, which the Jacouche doesn't have. And I'll be okay. But
just slid that in there, just under the door on his way down the hall.
Almost forgot to mention about how he doesn't have that one thing that basically every tag gets
Hey, everybody, did you know it's shit on Shakush September?
Yeah, that's every day.
That's every doesn't even be September.
Yeah.
Is it a day ending in a Y? It's shit on Shakush Day.
Yeah, basically take what the other two have said. Like, know what your tag's going to do, and then don't be afraid to have guys who they don't really have a purpose in your list beyond being order monkeys that are bait to protect your tag. Like, you don't want to spend any orders on those guys. Like, other lists that I've brought tags in that I think you could get away with is like, if you're gonna play JSA, he kind of has some defenses in and of himself. The Oyuroi, because he's got his mad traps. But you could put a ninja nearby. Like, don't infiltrate all the way across the board. Have a killer hacker ninja like 6 inches ahead of where your tag is. And when someone comes up on him to put a picture down or to do whatever, then you reveal and you go, yeah, I'm just here to kill you. I'm 30 points. That's not a huge investment in my army, but it's a big enough investment to justify saving my 75-point tag.
Gotcha.
And like doing stuff like that, like having that kind of like, I'm bringing an engineer and he's here specifically to fix this guy, but I'm not going to bring the engineer with 2 remotes and then a guy, and then this engineer is actually going to do, I don't care about all that. He's just there to fix the tag. If the tag doesn't get broken, perfect. If the tag gets broken, well, he's in order for somebody else. Like, he's not there to go do anything else. And that's how I just plan my stuff out.
Cool. Well, here's our last one then. This is from Raven Strike 2009 for everybody. And it said, I loved your faction guides and the anti-faction guides. Any thought of merging the two together since they share the same DNA? Probably not. Because it would just take forever to do. And that's not how we roll. Let's take forever. Those would be one long ass episode if we did that way. Also, when we get more of them, I'm here to hear about nomads. Probably when we get through the ITS document, we'll come back with one. I think Owen will play probably enough games as Ariadne. Maybe we can do Ariadne by then. And I'll be done painting my Hakislam. So we've already done faction guides for Yuching and Hakislam. And I'll be working on my Bakunin. And Owen will also be playing Bakunin at some point, I'm sure. So we can do nomads. And I'm already playing Corgador and stuff too. I think that one's simple. All right, well, let's dive in to the B-Pong.
B-Pong.
B-Pong. This is the first, alphabetically speaking, and also the first of the new missions. And what a mission. Now, we gave a brief overview of this during the final episode of last season, but we're going to go through these one by one, and talk about what we would take, what our thoughts are for like list requirements. Like we have 3 categories. And then talk about the actual like mission itself and the structure. And we'll start with that. We'll start with the mission and structure. So B-Pong, it has a main objective, which is at the end of each game round, the tracking beacon is totally inside the enemy half of the game table for an objective point. Now that means you've moved it off the center line because it starts overlapping both areas. At the end of each game round, the control of the tracking beacon is by you. So you hold it for an additional 1. That gives you 2 overall per round if you've got both those requirements. At the end of each game round, control at least 1 console, which is worth a classified point. There's 2 consoles in the center of the left and right zones. So basically they are, I believe, 12 inches from the sides. And that means that the football needs to be, basically you have to have at least 2 models in 2 places, one on the beacon and one on the console. They could be the same model if you manage to move the beacon far enough, ironically. And then you also want to have got the classified. There's a final classified that can be scored at the end of the game. So overall, you can get 9 from the primary because there's 3 per round, and then a single classified. How do we feel about the scoring for this one? I think I know how Owen's going to feel because this is all round scored.
Go second.
This mission's a nightmare. God, go second or you're screwed. I've played this mission like 4 times now.
Okay. So, but wait, we're breaking it down in scoring. So, how do you feel about the scoring of it? Is it like, what are your thoughts on the scoring?
You're gonna score probably 5 points. Try and 5-4 your opponent.
Right.
Like, get ahead and then just maintain that. Just score a point every turn and you'll be okay.
Have you found that it goes back and forth? Like the football basically just gets handed back and forth and either player scores each round?
I find that the football gets pushed on turn 1, and then it kind of just stays there as everyone kills each other. And then whoever has any army remaining is able to do something with it. But like it gets pushed across the line, and then the guy who had it pushed into his side accepts that the opponent's going to get a point, but he has a guy next to it to get a point.
Right, because as long as he's standing on it, he's going to get a point too. Yeah.
And then that guy who's standing on it also gets a guy on one of the beacon or one of the consoles and gets a point. And then it's like who got their classified.
Because you're really trying to control both consoles and the button. Or at least
you only need one console.
I know, but if you're touching the other one, then the opponent can't touch it. Like if you're just prone next to the console where nobody can see you, nobody else can touch that console because you're controlling.
We haven't gotten there yet, but one aspect of this is that you cannot use the console more than once until your opponent uses it again.
Yeah.
So the value of consoles goes down once you've used it to move the beacon. And so you really only need to fight for one and accept that they might get one console tick on the other side. And then if they have a guy on it, you just shoot him off. You don't have to go over there. You don't have to spend the orders to get, because there's a big zone of exclusion.
Is you can only use each console once, or each specialist troop can only declare this skill once per game round? Like you get multiple specialists, you can do it.
Scroll further down to activate console.
Yeah,
because I'm not talking about the beacon.
You're talking about the beacon. Sorry, I thought you were talking about the beacon.
So no, the beacon you've got to fight over because
you can kick with different people each time. That's right. Sorry, that's what I thought you were talking about, because I was like, I'm pretty sure we figured out we could chain it if we got multiple specialists there. I see what you're saying.
The console, you only need the one console. So you take the console on one side, don't activate it if you can, kick the soccer ball, and then shoot the enemy off the far one. And if they use the far one to put it back, that's okay, because you've got control of the middle and they can't use the other console. And so then you've got it kind of your setup there. Or if you're player one, I think you actually go left and right and push the beacon that way. But I don't know. I play
so far your opinion is it turns into kind of a mosh pit.
Yeah.
Around the beacon and the consoles.
Yeah.
It's the struggle the last turn is, can you have a specialist that can punt it back over to the enemy side if you're losing? Or do you just
kill that guy?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, you want a shiz ton of specialists.
You want everyone to be a specialist if you can, really.
Yeah.
There's no penalty for losing them.
No. So it's like specialists galore everywhere. And this is what I mean by, like, there's other missions where it benefits to have specialists and also punishes you for having specialists. This one is just like spam specialists everywhere.
Yeah, and fighting specialists if you can too.
Right, of course, yeah. So whatever. It's whatever role, also specialist, if you can. And then you're going to have a much better time in this mission. And I also think because of Exclusion Zone, playing vanilla could be a bit harder if you go... Because if you go first, you kind of have to really push up on the board and have some board presence and have like a really good ARO presence where you just won't get like eaten alive. And so you have to like take the board and hold the board, but that's hard when you're playing vanilla.
Right. So let's define that a little bit, because we haven't actually finished defining the mission yet. We're talking about tactics and stuff. So there's during deployment, like I said, there's two consoles, left and right sides, 12 inches in. There's a central 25 mil beacon. So two 40 mil consoles and 25 mil beacon. There's an 8-inch exclusion zone on either side. Yeah, it's only 25 mil for the beacon.
Huh.
Yeah. Same with supply tokens. Once you extract the supply token, they're the same size as a base. And then the exclusion zone is basically doesn't allow any kind of superior deployment skill, so no infiltration, and you can't do any airborne deployment skills unless you're using the special airborne deployment once per game feature of this mission, right? Of this season rather, because you can use that to come in along one of those edges. Now that's going to be a sort of like a pushback, so you do have to spend orders to get to those consoles if you want to use the console to nudge, but you only get one console nudge per turn. And then the actual like touching of the beacon afterwards is going to be, if a specialist does it, then they can place it. So they can relocate the tracking beacon with the console push, but the specialists can activate it's a whole order, and you place the marker within 4 inches of the troop that declared the skill. So they literally they place it. They don't move it. It has to go within 4 of them. They can kind of like volleyball it around to each other.
You can throw it up on buildings, especially if you're like a bigger sized person.
Yeah.
Like top of your silhouette.
That's within the top of your silhouette. Yeah. Yeah, it's an important distinction. And then the consoles can be activated to either nudge it 2 inches in any direction or pull it 6 inches back towards the middle to try and reset it. But you only do that once per turn. And then controlling means that you have a model that's not in a null state, in contact, not in a marker state, with either the consoles or the beacons themselves. Specialists are the usual classification of specialist. You can go into retreat, and then there's 3 game rounds to play the mission in. Okay, so this does use classifieds as well. It's going to, of course, have the special seasonal features in play, and without any special additional stuff. There will be long service. There'll be the prestige, which means you can make a command token into an order once per turn, and you get the border skirmish, which means that 80 troops can come in along the borders of the exclusion zone potentially. So there's a reason to take an airborne deployment trooper in this mission. So you were, before we just finished defining this, Dan, you were talking about how vanilla really struggled with this. Finish that thought.
Not that it feels like you'll struggle more because you have to get up into the middle of the board, set up a defense, but also spend a bunch of orders shoving beacons around. And so vanilla has a bunch of duos, or has a couple duos you can take, but hopefully those are specialists. But beyond that, there's going to be just a lot of people stuck in your deployment zone. Because all your infiltrators, all your advanced deploy will only be able to get up another 4 inches. And depending on the table, you might have to, like, some people just want to be hiding further back so they don't, get crushed.
So it's interesting you said that about the table, because my first instinct with this mission is 90% of tables that anybody sets up have a big fucking piece of terrain in the middle, which means that beacon could be way up in the air to start the game. Same with the consoles. I would almost recommend that the beacon itself be on like some big ass piece of terrain, because I think that's going to help slow the murder fest a little bit, and also encourage people to use the whatchamacallits,
But you can only nudge it 2 inches. You can't place it 2 inches.
But as soon as you nudge it, it's in somebody's half, and then you have to fight to get up there, and both sides will be at equal disadvantage because it'll be inside the exclusion zone.
Yeah. But even then, like, I don't know. I think in like my Starmada thing where I can have like a 5-man link of all climbing plus.
Sure, of course you can.
Bear.
I mean, so can Sujan. There's lots of people that can do that, right? Like
Bear
it's
goes
not,
up to take the button from the 5-man link.
right? Like
It's fine. None of us need to walk home after this.
but it means that like the way I'm looking at this mission, a standard like infinity level of terrain is going to break up it just being this like weird open mosh pit in the middle. Like I feel like that's something that's maybe controllable by the organizer. I'll have to play it because I'm just visualizing it right now, and I haven't played it the way you guys have. But it feels like you could make
the
a
beacon
table.
has gotten onto a rooftop in every game of this I've played.
Okay.
And in every instance, the player who can't fight to get to the rooftop clicks the side button to put it back on the ground.
Sure. Yeah, that feels like a legit tactic.
Each instance of that. And so it has been like a stalling tactic, but it's not been super relevant, because then it just becomes they kill everyone on the ground and they push it back to the floor.
Right.
Is what's happened. What I want to say though, and like before you get into how you maneuver it and like what army to build, it's going to take you probably 7 orders to score 3 points on the first turn if your opponent does nothing. You're 12 inches away from the beacon on deployment. So it's first order move, second order move, third order, entire order, move the beacon, fourth order, walk and be back to base with the beacon. 2 points. And then the other guy's got to move 2 more orders and get into base to base with the
console.
With the console. So 6 orders. Sorry, not 7, 6.
I mean, you could do that guy first, because you could have them move into base with the console, click it, push the order over the line. Now it's over
Hopefully
the line.
not fail his whip check.
Sure, but I'm just saying, like, mechanically speaking, there are ways to like to get
save potentially orders. 1 order. Yeah. But my point is that you're looking at 5 or 6 orders, because it saves you 1, right? So you're looking at 5 or 6 orders. It
saves you the entire order, and that saves you the order to move into contact with it, because you just move 1, move 2 and click, and then move 2 to get onto it. because you're moving
Sure.
16.
And this is the assumption that you're moving straight lines.
No,
directly
no,
to
for
the
sure.
center.
I mean, that's it was with the 7 as well, right? So,
Right.
so either way.
But like my point is that you're looking at losing like a third to half of your initial orders if your opponent doesn't do anything. Like if you don't have to fight and you don't fail and you're just walking across the board, you're going to lose almost half of, and they're going to probably reduce your order pool by 2 because it's real powerful against the first player on this one. So you might be looking at losing most of your turn just getting into position, and then you have to fight their counterattack 8 inches out of their deployment.
You don't want to
or
go
10
first
inches
in this
out.
mission for sure. You 100%
Like,
don't want to go first.
don't
if
go
you,
first.
If you win initiative, you must just say like I choose second.
Yeah.
And it's a low scoring mission no matter what you do, I think.
Yeah. So my feeling trying to figure out how to do first player is you actually kind of ignore the beacon and you fight for the consoles, where turn 1, because it's less order intensive, you go up one side and push the beacon onto their side and then try and control both consoles and like have a team on the left and the right. And that way they have to go to the middle to get the beacon, and usually left and right can see the middle. And you deny a point if they can't get on either of those consoles. And if they can't get to the consoles and you're shooting at the beacon, they won't move it and you'll score 2.
Yeah.
And just be happy that you scored 2 if you can make that.
Yeah, it does feel like you're
happy.
trying to score 6 in this one. Like that's what it feels like to me. You're trying to grab your classified for sure, because it's gonna be like you really want to hope you have a classified you can do. And you're gonna have a million specialists, you probably will. But even if that means securing HVT, like you're gonna want to go for that classified point, because the rest of the points are gonna be opposed and they're gonna be hard to do. And then you're probably not going to score that high, especially if you're going first, because you're having all the opportunities to have it pushed back away from you because it's all scored at the end of the game round. So going second is incredibly powerful in this one.
I mean, alternatively, you can just, disable their hand, but then you still have to be touching stuff and doing orders to score.
To score 6, you just need to be touching stuff every round, even if you're not doing like, I feel like that's going to be a popular one because it doesn't require whip checks or order expenditures. So I feel like a lot of people are going to play for 7s in this one, where they just want to be touching a console, touching the box, and keeping their opponent from doing the thing. Yeah.
I feel like there is a world where if you go first and are able to just destroy their army and order pool, then you'll lose some points on the first turn. And you just completely ignore everything and you just go for kill, kill, kill. And if you kill enough, it's a big risk. But if you kill enough, then you'll score on the second and third turn.
Yeah.
But it's really risky.
So that's my, I mean, and obviously so much of this is dependent on table setup, but I think you're playing for 7 if you're going first. You're trying to build an army that has the capacity, right, to do these specialist tricks, but it also has the capacity to just stand and take it, right? To move into the mid zone, fight in the mid zone at that like knife fighting range, have tons of like maybe deployables, ARO presence in like the form of repeaters, hidden missile bot in the back, because no one's going to come back to your deployment zone in this one, right? You're probably not going to see, no, for real though, you're probably not going to see people writing lists for this mission specifically that have a lot of like orders spent getting into the backfield and just rampaging.
Well, let me tell you about the list I made specifically for this scenario, entirely built around going through their back line and killing.
Sure, but someone has to get to the middle still to score. You don't score off doing that. Like I'm just saying, like it's not going to be as prevalent as lists that are purely designed to do that, right? You just don't have the orders to do it. So the stand and take it thing and those same like deployable things, I feel like are equally valid at defending against that same stuff, but also like littering the middle and then creating that defense where if you're going first, you're just pushing up, trying to be in base contact with all 3 of those objects. And then, like I said, playing for that 7, setting up, suppression, coordinated suppression, or a fire team trap, lots of things like deployable repeaters, ARO spotlights, an Atalanta to watch the whole thing, that kind of thing.
I feel like if you want to go, if you're going second, you almost want like cheap throwaway guys that you can just get on the objectives. They're going to die, but you've scored because it's the end of round. So it's fine. And then you can do it again. As you're piece trading, you're just going to be ahead. But if you go first, you have to have guys that are just going to last and be really durable. And so it's like, do you just roll the dice and be like, well, I hope I go first or second, because they're completely different lists.
I think it's gonna change faction by faction how those things get accomplished, right? And I think that's what we can talk about maybe at the end of this when we talk about how different factions might do it. Like, I can see building an Aleph or Steel Phalanx list that leans into, if I have to go first, I have these pieces that have Eclipse that can get up one of those zones, be in suppression inside the Eclipse when the Eclipse dissipates on round 2, and now you're fighting Atalanta and a bunch of suppressing, like, insanity, basically, trying to come drive us off with these wedges. And then I have like a counterattack force prepared for when you start moving forward, or I have missile bots, or I have remotes because it's Aleph and I'm good at doing that. Like, but that's their way of doing it, and everyone's going to have a different way of doing it. Like, Corregidor is going to throw koalas everywhere, and Moran's to open a hacking net. Like, there's going to be a different, I think, version of that for each list. But it's like, what are you trying to accomplish, and how does your list do that? I think is an individual question. I mean, Sundeck Butt's gonna be real good.
Well, he's good for the consoles, and then it's terrain dependent because his forward deploy gets cut off.
Sure, but he's still able to cover whoever crawls over there. You know what I mean? As a base contact, maybe.
Yeah, I actually, the first thing when Dan and I were talking about it was whether or not I just run the exact same Carbonite list, because I think if with nothing changed, it's perfectly fine in this scenario between the Delamis watching and being able to walk up and touch the button with very cheap orders that can just die, but I got it at the end of the turn, or Sundeck Butts and Speculo Killers being in the enemy's deployment or in their face right away. But I had a post in Patreon chat, the list I just played this mission on like an hour ago against an avatar list, or not an avatar list, but a combined army list. And it was built around the idea that I was going to come in from behind. I knew in the way you just described that my opponent was going to move up and take over the middle and suppress and hold it. And the plan was, I'm going to come at you from every direction. And so I have Mirage 5, I have a Bearpode, I have a Spetsnaz boarding shotgun infiltrator, I've got a Spetsnaz HMG, and then I've got a whole bunch of dudes that are just kind of all over the place. And it did exactly what it needed to do. It, like, Margot and Duroc got in there and stabbed up the backline order monkeys, and then the Spetsnaz and the other Spetsnaz piece traded all of the guys off of the middle, or rather, like, they executed the guys in the middle. And then Mr. Digger just stood on one of the consoles the entire game, and Mr. Bear stood on the middle and was like, kill me.
So you played for 7. You played for the hold the buttons, not move the button. Not move the beacon, sorry.
I actually moved the beacon as well because the Maverick, well, actually in this case, I had to switch out the Maverick with a parachute guy because I forgot to bring my motorcycle. But yeah, I did move the
Paracommando.
Yeah, Paracommando forward observers 20 points, which is a perfect swap. And then she walked in from the side because you can use your one special man drop trooper, and she walked in and then just flipped the button, reset the consoles. But yeah, but that was the idea. It was, I'm going to let my opponent push up and set themselves up, and then I'm just going to disable it. So he went from having like 14 orders on turn 1 to 6 on turn 2 to 0 on turn 3. And like, that was how it went. I think I lost 3 models. I rolled really well. Like, there's a couple of things that went really my way early on. Like, one of the grunt infiltrators made it, and he just never died the whole game. He just killed the guy who came for him, and then he was just an order monkey blocking off a hallway. Duroc came out the back, and like Bit and Kiss were holding the button, and one of them was facing the wrong way, and Mr. Duroc is like, I chain rifle everyone. I chain rifle you too. And then the Bearpode can just, like, the big building that he had put the button up on top of, Bearpode just walked up on top of the building and was like, sweet, free point for me. I'm armor 8. Any of you want to try and push me off? Yeah, it was effective.
It was unbearable.
Yeah. Yep.
I think the thing that's tricky is that even if you control the middle button, like the middle beacon, if someone walks up and pushes one of the consoles, you
lose 2 points.
You no longer control the beacon.
Yeah.
Like, how do you control the beacon? if you go first. Like I don't.
I have no
understand.
idea how to do it on first player though, because I went second on this, and it like infinitely easier.
I mean, that's the point of like round scoring stuff. Second is very powerful.
This one even more so, because it's like, imagine if you're trying to do round scoring, but after turn 1 the zones move. Like what?
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Yeah.
Well, my version of that is a corregidor list. Similarly, sort of like positioned, lots of specialists, lots of like response pieces. So Moran repeater, Stempler, Hellcat, because I want to do that same trick, and it's a hacker, right? So we can come down and grab a console or move the button if we want to. Using the bonus Massacre, because I want to have Eclipse grenades with 2 Jaguars to go and flood the zone in the middle, and then McMurrow for the same reason that you would take McMurrow. Intruder HMG, and an Intruder Killer Hacker, because he can also get into smiley face mode and go after the button. And then a Vertigo Missile Launcher, Jazz and Billy, Daktari Doctor to bring people back to life, and I go see Lieutenant in group 2 to hold the line, and then threaten with all that repeater net the missile barrage if you try and come. That would be how I would play to hold that middle.
So you're going to coordinate those Morans up at the beginning, because they can't deploy within 8 of the
they can deploy on, well, they can deploy not with an 8, but they don't need to. They just need to make one move and then throw Koalas, right? Because they'll throw Koalas next to the consoles. One move puts them in repeater range of the consoles. Plus, they've got the whatchamacallit, the Koalas out. So I could coordinate them, yeah, if I want to, but I'll just move them. It's not going to do much afterwards.
Nothing for big guns. Yeah, 1 HMG, and then hopefully we get the spotlights down.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nothing for guns. Just lots of grenades, some melee. I got a breaker rifle on Massacre, breaker combi, boarding shotguns in the Morans combi. Lots of like crazy koalas. And then missiles and hackers, and
you only got 2 hackers. One's a killer hacker.
Correct.
Or a third one is a killer hacker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I got a McMurrow, and he is a heavy weapon. He's a disposable heavy weapon.
Kinda, yeah.
I've killed salamanders with him. I've killed a bunch of tags with him before. Just smoke it over and oh yeah, man. Killed all kinds of guys. Berserk on McMurrow is real good.
He'd probably kill a Yoda.
If he made it into melee.
He'll make it melee if you Yoda if you don't have visors around. He'll just smoke his way in.
Remember we were talking about that? How many points do you spend on support?
Just saying, like if you're taking double Yoda, you don't have a lot of points to spend on support. Is what I'm saying.
No, I have a second Yoda.
He
protects the first Yoda.
The second Yoda has the same problem. You can't see him.
And there's 2 TR bots.
They can't see him either.
A mess. Yeah. Wow.
He's just gonna smoke his way to victory. Spend 12 orders getting there. Just stab one to death.
Like I said, freaking McMurrow.
Get old McMurrow.
I don't know.
27 points to kill you.
I guess I've just played too many McMurrows as and against, and I don't like. He's obnoxious, but
no, you can't. I'm not saying you trust him, but like he's there's a better than not chance that if you dedicate that order pool to killing a Yoda, you'll kill a Yoda if you go first.
Maybe better dedicate that order pool on the very order intensive scenario.
I'm not talking about this scenario.
But this is what we're talking about.
I know. You said
because I played my double Yoda into this scenario against Dan.
Right.
No,
you're asking me if I don't have heavy weapon. I'm just.
Oh, that's right. It was only 1 Yoda.
Yeah.
But the problem was I invested too much. I brought my Zeta and I invested too many orders trying to kill the Yoda, and the consoles are kind of in the
distraction Yoda.
Yeah, and so I put a wound on it. Also, I took a wound taking out a total reaction, Red Fury, and TR bot at the same time. And then I tried to repair and I hurt myself. And then I spent like 3 command tokens trying to re-roll, and I eventually healed myself back up. So that was fun.
The TR Hellet, or the Neurosynetic Hellet.
Yeah, that guy's the best. He's great.
They went after the Zeta.
At the same time as a TR bot.
Why not?
They did a wound.
But I won. But it took too many orders. And that's the thing, is like if you go second, if you have those TR bots and stuff, but if things go a little wrong for your opponent and they just have to wade through your stuff, spending orders killing you, You almost have won the game already. And so it's like, I think it's too strong for the second player. I don't know how you'd fix that in the scenario.
I don't know.
I think terrain's going to be a big deal for this one, setting up terrain. And then
The only one I would like is if you couldn't move the beacon if an enemy controls it. That would be my only like adjustment.
That would be a huge buff to turn.
I think that's so obnoxious is the fact that like player on turn 1 goes up, moves the beacon, moves up, gets his guys on it, suppresses, holds the line, blah blah blah. Air troop comes in from the side, clicks the button, resets the beacon. That guy loses 2 points right off the top. Like, good. I should have fought the entire map all at the same time in every direction, not just your army from 8 inches outside of your deployment zone. Like that would be like if I was to make an adjustment,
right?
As is, like, just go second. I don't know how you do it first.
I mean, it's an argument for taking the consoles and controlling them and locking them down too, right?
Sure. I just mean to say that you have to have all of it. You have to hold all of the board. You have to hold all 3 consoles.
You can lock them down all you want, but if they dedicate their whole order pool,
you'll probably get there. Yeah.
There's no defense against it. They'll take the console, and you'll lose points. And there's nothing you can do
if you're going first. There's always the risk that's going to happen. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Right. Yeah. And then, but you can't afford not to. That's what I did. I kind of ignored the scenario because I was like, he's just going to blow me off anyways. So I'll just make it harder. I'll give him the free points, 3 free points for his turn, but then I'll have lots of orders to try to fight back once he's taken those, and I'll kind of retake it back. But it was too much. When you get ahead, it's too hard to get back. Because by the time you fight and kill everybody, you don't have.
They only need one guy to like sneak by.
I'm feeling pretty good about my list. I'm going to try and go first with Corregidor when I play B-Pong against Chase on the weekend, and I'll post the battle report and we'll see how it goes. But I'm going to try and do what you're talking about, or what I'm talking about here, and actually take the consoles. Just play to hold, not play to move.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, if you take the consoles, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I guess for me, it's like, it's terrain dependent, terrain dependent.
We're playing on Chase's tables, so I'm not gonna have home turf advantage. He's gonna have home turf advantage. I'll let him set them up, and then we'll see how the thing goes. I'll see if I get if I can get first, I'll take it.
If I played like vanilla 012 and I had like 2 gangbusters in one, they can, even when you're 4 inches up, is that 8 inches from the console?
Yeah,
it's less because the consoles overlap the line, right? Because they're 40 mil.
I guess they can go get there. I'm just saying, like, I could lay a mad trap as
sure can. Yep, it's the same.
No, you can't. You cannot mind layer.
You can't mind layer, but you can do it in an order. You can do it with one order.
No, boy, I can mind layer with the plus.
You can't mind layer into the exclusion zone because you can't.
Right. Yeah, but it'll still be +4 out of my deployment and 8 inches from the middle.
Right, but it won't reach the far side.
It won't reach the far side of the console.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, but
you need an order to do it, basically.
But I guess if it was in the middle, then if they moved it, then they can't move up at all to control it without having to dodge. But if someone is good at dodging, it's like, then it's just...
Or they're not even good at dodging and they just don't care.
It's heavy infantry and they just take it.
Here's my bot.
They take the robot home.
Yeah. My 5-point guy.
But it's more orders, right? It's
here's my hollow.
Wasting orders with the mind layer.
Yeah, at that point it comes back to your original point though, Owen, which is that you can't afford the orders, right? That was your first point. Yeah. So anything that causes you to use a short skill to dodge or anything. But this description or send a guy to go clear a mine.
Right, but what he's describing is how to hurt first player even more.
That's true.
So, it's true. Okay.
So I guess
make it even worse.
About it going, if you went first, I don't think you mind layer. I think you walk up, plant a mad trap, walk up, plant another mad trap. You might be able to coordinate. You might use some coordinated orders to do that. And then you have 2 specialists that can push the button.
What's really interesting is
and be on the button.
In my list, I could coordinate. Oh no, I couldn't because they're different groups. If I rearrange my groups a little bit, I could have Jazz and Billy and the 2 Morans all coordinate and then deploy because all 4 of them have deployables.
Yeah.
So Billy could put down an EM mine, Jazz could put down a cyber mine just for fun, or a pitcher if she wanted to. I guess she'll just shoot it, and then the Morans can both drop crazy koalas. So there's
you can do pitcher with the other ones because it's a BS attack.
Because they don't give you repeaters. I thought Pitcher Mind Layer let you do.
No, pitcher's
No.
different from repeater.
Oh, you're right.
The Mind
puts
Layer,
down, yeah,
there's
right.
Mind Layer repeater. Because if you're thinking of Bitten Kiss, she has repeaters.
That's
and a
right, and
pitcher.
she has both. That's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
she both. Yeah, but I can do Jazz has
You can do
Cybermine still.
mine.
She can put that
Yeah.
Cybermine. Yeah. Anyway, just a thought. Like there's ways of doing it that are efficient, but you're right. It's going to punish the first player for spending orders to go do that stuff.
I feel like Cybermine profiles are not the worst.
They're not great.
Because
They're just mines that only affect hackers. They still have line of sight. They're pretty bad.
they still need line of sight.
Or no, they don't need line of sight. Sorry, that's the one thing they don't need.
That's the thing, is like you can put it there, but then like when the specialist comes in, if they only have hackers,
Yeah,
which I feel like is some of the time. Like how many hackers do you have? How many specialists that aren't hackers do you have that want to be around the middle?
I have
In
1,
this
2
list?
forward deployer. I have 2 forward observers, a killer hacker, a hacker, and a doctor.
Yeah. So I mean, like, it would be annoying,
That would definitely be annoying. Yes, you're right.
but would it be good? Is it worth like?
But would it be worth doing? So what about your list, Dan? Come on, come up with something here.
That's what I'm saying. Like my first turn, I think I bring the Zeta, just because he can be somewhere on suppression in a weird spot that maybe, I don't know.
You could make it harder if you're going second by having him start at suppression. You could also have the
I think just having a really fast climbing plus piece helps.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And so going
Just
first
to control the beacon.
I can run around, like I can get the beacon pushed back, and then it can be on a rooftop or whatever, and then hopefully I can suppress in a relatively safe space. And I'll probably die, but then maybe I have like, I don't know. It's hard. But then
Here's my turn 1 list.
two gangbusters, and then they they put 4 mad traps around the middle, hopefully far enough away from each other so you have to take 2 dodges at least to try to get around them, and hopefully you sticky some people, take some of their orders. But then I don't know. I mean, maybe some lynxes, because then they're like surprise attack snipers kind of thing to like just really bog down. You just need a super ARO list, I feel.
I've posted how I would do it for turn 1.
3 specialists.
I'm not going to push the button at all. I'm not even going to bother. I'm going to have 3-day Lamy line up 8 inches facing each object with Sunduck Busts watching them. And then the Fidays are going to sit in whatever line it is my opponent will head towards those middle points.
The other side
and then
of the board.
I'm just going to be base to base with the things with throwaway 8-point day Lamies. And then I'm going to spend 9 orders on McMurrow.
Yeah.
And he doesn't need to do anything successful. He just needs to be alive, moving around, and threatening.
Kill whatever hitting piece they have.
Yep. I actually don't need to roll a whip check if I don't want to. And so if I can get away with it, I will never roll a whip check.
It would be like a turn 3 opportunity thing. You just push one console.
You push both consoles and the middle all at the beginning, because both Sunduck Butts and all 5 Delamies are 4 inches up.
They can't push the buttons.
They don't need to push the buttons. They just need to stand next to it.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Control for one. Deny them control for the other one. I'm 2 points right off the top before I spend a regular order. And then I have 2 Fidays that are screening for the way through. And then I have McMurrow. And if I feel really encouraged because my opponent has something that I'm like, oh, this will be no problem, I walk my link team up the middle and push this, or I probably walk my engineer and he pushes the thing one instance using in a whole order because I have +1 command token in this list.
Sweet. Well, I think everybody who's listening to this episode should jump on the Discord and post what list you would take with your army. And the episode thoughts section, and we will have a lively discussion about your lists in the Discord about B-Pong, because B-Pong is of course going to get played quite a bit.
My follow-up question is, would the list that you built be good in other scenarios?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, mine would too.
Okay, great.
I would play this into the only one I think I would really struggle at is going to be last launch.
Last launch is hard
as is because I need to switch out some people or something, like drop 1 Sunduck Butt for my 2 evil bots.
Yeah, you need to get the Evo bots in there so you can. My Gator list would be better at last launch so that I could have my Evo bots to go jump through early.
Yeah, but otherwise it's fine.
Yeah, agreed. Sweet. So what do we think about B-Pong in general? If we, let's say, if there's 3 tiers of scenarios in the mission pack, there's, let's say, the A tier is the ones you would probably take in a tournament all the time, because they are dependable, reliable. They generally give like a good challenge, without being boring, and they don't like fall into the trap of like, well, one list could play all these things. The B lists or the B sort of missions where it's like, yeah, these are reliable missions, but they kind of cater to that thing Dan said earlier, where it's like the enemy can't push a button if you disable their hands, so you can have like a single list that can be good at all these missions. And then C, where they're just either too crazy, too complex, or too brain drainy, and you're not going to take them in a tournament that often. Where do you think this one falls? We'll start with Dan, and we'll end with Owen.
I think it's A right now because it's new, it's exciting, it's making people think differently. So it seems like a really good, refreshing thing to have in a tournament. I think it'll settle into more of a B just because it skews so hard towards second turn. But maybe people will figure out ways to play better. I mean, we've already kind of like brainstorming of like, okay, maybe this could work, right?
I'm gonna put an A because I think that it's gonna force people to take a list too. It is, if you put this as an A and then a bunch of like pendable Bs, right? Like a bunch of like, I don't know, like a front line or like a unmasking where it's like a killing mission. I feel like this one forces you to take a separate list that you don't necessarily take for those other ones. So I'm going to put an A as well. I think people will get comfortable with those lists and maybe find some lists that they haven't taken otherwise that may work well for other missions too. But I think that's my reasoning for also putting an A for now. What are we on?
I think it's B right now. I think
you think one list can rule them all because you've now convinced yourself that
it's not one
list can do it.
It's not one list. It's the complete like hard. If you go first, the odds of you losing this scenario are considerably higher than many other lists or many other scenarios, in my opinion.
Unless you spent like a lot of time thinking about it and like really dedicating your list building towards it.
I would make it a C though, because it's just swingy.
But but I'm not sure yet. That's why I'm putting it at a B now, because I've only played it like 3 or 4 times. Every game, second player has won, right? And so that's.
I think I wouldn't put it in C just because the victory conditions are clear and it's not mentally taxing or overly like it's not a mission you can screw up necessarily.
But the thing is, the victory conditions are clear, but how to get the victory condition done is very unclear.
That's why I think that A is good. That's why I put an A, because I think it's challenging.
Okay, maybe I misunderstood the rating system.
The B ones were like the annihilation front line. You know what I mean? Like you could take one mission and play annihilation front line and quadrant control. Right. So the B missions are like, they're simple and they're easy and they're straightforward, but like they kind of fall into that trap. Whereas A is like, they're more challenging. They're also relatively straightforward, but you couldn't just take one list to play all the A missions.
Okay, yeah, sure. Then A then. I guess I was looking at it from like would I want this in an event if it meant that the first roll of the game might be the one that's deciding the game? Like I know that's
a C then. That would be a C because it's too swingy to be reliably put in an event.
Then maybe that is the case. It's A looking at C.
Got it. Okay, cool.
Because like I said,
it's margin A.
Yeah, until like I have that event coming up, it looks like it's going to be a weird case where most people just aren't available that weekend. So it might be a little bit of a small side, but I'll get a little sample size of people coming out to play B-Pong because it's the first mission in that tournament.
Just get a bigger sample size. Play B-Pong 3 times.
So what I would do, here's what we should do then is on all of the slips for the reporting for that one, have
just mark off first player, second player.
Yeah, mark off first player, second player.
Yeah, see if I can get a little bit of
collect that little bit of data. Yeah, I think that'd be interesting. Just have like, did you go first? Or who was first, who was second on the slip.
Yeah, because like that's where I'm looking at. Like, it's something. It's something. But like I said, I think right now I have like 2 people signed up on the ITS site and like 4 maybes on the Facebook.
Come on,
event.
Calgary. Come on. Century
Apparently,
Box.
it's just no one's available that weekend. Like 4
End of
people
September.
have said they can't, and then the medicine hat guys are unsure. And
It's not
who
Thanksgiving,
knows?
man. That's the weekend after. You're not getting any Thanksgiving games.
Following
Go.
weekend's Thanksgiving. Oh well,
Get your asses down there.
we shall
I
see.
can't make it either.
Yeah, but that's because you suck. And we didn't want you there
I'm doing
anyway.
backcountry camping.
You
bro.
weren't supposed to look. You can die in Lake Louise for all we care. We don't care.
It's
You
not
have
gonna
your
be like
excuses.
Louise. It's
I
gonna
hope a
be
bear
Owen
eats
and
you. I'm standing up for Owen right now.
Dan. A bear can try to eat me. I'll wrestle him. My bare hands.
I believe that bear was wearing people clothes. So that's it. We did it. We did B-Pong. I'm excited for the next one. What's the next one on this list? We had B-Pong, then we had, I think it was last launch. What was the second one? It's last launch.
Evacuation.
Oh no, evacuation. That's right, because we're only alphabetical. So it is evacuation.
Oh, evacuation.
Oh, evacuation. So I don't want to guess if it's going to be an A, B, or C, but I'm pretty sure I know where evacuation's going.
Hey.
Solid A. Definitely can't take one list for evacuation. It's gonna be an interesting one. So yeah, there we go. And we'll be back with that next week as we continue going through these new missions, doing a little deep dive on them, talking about our forces for it. We'll update you on how we did at the event. Or I'll update you on how to playing through the 2 missions that you guys already played this week and let you know what I think. And yeah, get in the mailbag and ask some more questions because we're down to 1. So check the link and of course post your list that you would play for B-Pong and the episode thoughts on our Discord. Thanks for listening, guys, and good night, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.